Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening. How are you all doing? My name's Amanda Ellis, and a very warm welcome to my channel. If you are new here, just to say that I cover a huge variety of different subjects. You will never get bored if you stay for the long haul, but it is fine to also pass if there are particular subjects that don't resonate with you. I know royal readings don't resonate with everybody in the same way that twin flame videos that I also cover don't resonate with everybody. But there is a substantial proportion of people that do love them, which is why I do them. So I'm going to look in this video at the energy of King Charles and Prince William in particular, maybe Harry as well. I was originally intending to just have a look at the energy around the Royal Tour of Australia, which is starting, is it tomorrow? Let's just have a look at the dates, but it's this week anyway. I have written the dates down. 18th to the 26th of October. Did I say Prince Charles? I probably did, because we still haven't quite got used to him being king. He was prince for so long. Anyhow, King Charles is going with Camilla down to Australia, 18th to the 26th of October. I've got a few things I'd like to say about that, and also to pull some cards on it. But there's another question that has come in, which I wanted to explore. To be honest, more for my own reassurance that things actually are all right, because I was concerned maybe they weren't. I think they are, but I'm going to tell you what I've got so far with regards to William. This is tied into other things that I've said before. There's a royal playlist on this channel. You can look at it below. I'll link it below. But do you remember when I was talking about the fact that he was having a major wobble post the Queen's death, and then the diagnosis, obviously, of his father's illness, his wife's illness? I think I came on and did a video around the time he had to do his first official engagement again for a while, which was to do with investiture and knighting people at Buckingham Palace. He was swaying all over the place. He looked extremely nervous. And I did a whole video on that. I think I called it something like the wobble. And then, a few more months have passed. Felt as though he was gaining strength, because I definitely feel as though Prince William holds the template of the energy of King Arthur. This is what got me into reading on Knights of the Round Table, King Arthur, Camelot. Since I first brought this subject up, I've done a lot of work on it, including where I see Camelot arising across the ocean in USA. But it all started really with William. This is how it all came into my awareness. Heard a voice from spirit saying, months ago, you do know he is Arthur, don't you? And from that, all the work has flowed. So why am I coming back to talk about him right now? I've been a little bit concerned because, and this is not a judgment on anybody's body shape. I obviously did come on and talk about Kate's thinness before she was diagnosed, and concern for the way she was looking. We won't go back into that, but I stand by what I said at the time. But William is looking extremely thin, very, very thin, very, very gaunt. Now, he's a tall guy, okay? So when you're tall, maybe it shows a little bit more when you lose a substantial amount of weight. But he hasn't been looking particularly well, but it's more the thinness. I think it's very striking. I thought, is it just me? Am I being paranoid? Am I worrying about something that isn't even there? And I went online, and by online I'm talking about maybe Twitter or something like that. I know it's not the gospel, but just to sort of gauge, had anybody else picked up on it? And there were a few people talking about it, and I thought, no, I am right. He doesn't look particularly well at the moment. And then I sort of thought, God, there's not something wrong with him as well, is there? Because we're in strange times, my friends. Strange times, random timelines coming in. I've always seen him as ascending the British throne. But I got worried. I thought, what is this? So privately, I tuned in and was reassured that no, he's not ill. But it is something else. It's less a physical problem in terms of illness. It's more a mental battle. And it does tie back to that video that I did a few months ago when he, as I say, came out and was wobbling and swaying at the investiture, standing in for his father who was ill. I'm going to show you 4 cards that I got yesterday when I was tuning in, and then I'll pull some more. And then we'll look at the Australian tour, because really running through all of this is a family who are going through illness. And families up and down the land and all across the world, of course, go through times when members become ill, and there is a transference of that pain, worry, of course, that goes through the family. And, you know, the Windsor family are no different from any other family in that respect. So let's just show you the cards, because I was blown away by them. The first card that came up was this card, which is the Sacred Contract. It actually says covenant. Covenant is a pretty old-fashioned word, and I'm going to look up the meaning of covenant, actually, because it reminds me of a biblical, the only time I've heard of covenant is linked into the Bible. So what is the true meaning of covenant? Literally a contract. In the Bible, it's an agreement between God and his people in which God makes promises to his people and usually requires certain conduct from them. In the Old Testament, God made agreements with Noah, Abraham, and Moses. So I feel what this is saying linked into William, and it's nothing that I haven't said before, and you probably know, but let's just repeat it anyway. And again, this is in answer to why is he looking... He's not looking his normal self at the moment, okay? There's nothing wrong with losing a bit of weight, but it's just with everything that's been going on, you think, is he okay? It's to do with the contract. No, I don't believe this is marriage contract. I believe this is the contract that he's made pre-incarnation to turn up at this time and become the future king. He's never known a time when he has not been the future king in waiting. Okay, Charles was in front of him, but Charles is unwell. We'll come to that in a minute. And his time is approaching where he is going to have to take this throne. And the weight of this contract is weighing very, very heavily on him. I would put the 9 of Swords with this card, okay, which is the card of worry, fretting, anxiety, stress. And we've had this before, and I've said this before. So it's not a huge surprise. The other thing about this contract is it's one that you can't get out of, okay? You have to see this through, whether you like it or not. It's a non-negotiable contract. So I asked the cards, I said, why is it, over and above what we probably already know, why is this contract so troublesome to him? Why is he having so much trouble with accepting the contract, fulfilling the contract? And this card blew my mind. And it took me into a place of such compassion for him, because it says, first breath, beginner's mind. Here is somebody who doesn't feel as though he can do it, basically. Now he can, and he will, but he's got the mindset, almost feels very much like an embryonic, right at the start of the journey, the beginner, the novice, the apprentice. Even though you might say, well, he spent his whole life seeing how it's done. He's had the template laid down by the Queen. He's got the template being laid down by his father. The thing with William is that he knows when he becomes king, he has to do it in a completely different way. He knows that he will probably be in it for the long run. And by that I mean it will be a lengthier reign than his father's. And it's filled with huge uncertainty. And obviously, when he takes the throne, it is at a time of chaos in our world. The planet ascending, awakening. It's a really tough gig. And to be perfectly honest, pre-incarnation as a soul, to have put your hand up and said, okay, I'll do it, takes a really brave warrior. But he's not feeling like a brave warrior. He's feeling like a complete beginner. And I'm being shown by Spirit now the energy of starting school. But I'm not talking about secondary school. I'm just going to light some incense. I'm not talking about secondary school. I'm talking about primary school. It's the energy of when you first have to leave your mother and you go to school for half a day and then they make it into a whole day and you're away from her, from the nest. I do think also that there is wounding that has not been healed linked into his mother's death. But unlike his brother, and I'm not being nasty when I say this, he doesn't maybe articulate it or show it, or maybe has even tried to heal it in the same way that Harry has. He might have been, he's Cancerian, isn't he? And I'm a Cancerian, and we tend to wear our wounds quite privately, you know, particularly the very deep ones. If you're a Cancerian, you get what I'm saying. And it's interesting because on this card, we actually have got the moon. I don't know what the other planet is supposed to be, but I'm interpreting this as being Jupiter is what I first saw, because Jupiter is asking you to grow into a vast energy, the energy of king, but you don't feel you can because you feel you're still the toddler, basically. And I'm seeing him now as the little boy who Diana took to school. I'm seeing it in my mind's eye. His first day at school, I'm old enough to remember this stuff, and he had a little cap on, I think, and he had long socks going up to his knees. And I think as a child he was quite bullish and lively, but that betrayed a lot of inner anxiety and turmoil, but he just got on with it. What he now has to just get on with quite soon is so much bigger than that first day at school, but in many ways it's taken him back to that time. He's feeling the loss of his mother keenly. He is concerned about his wife, and he's very concerned about his father. The other card that came up is this one, which is the card of closing door and completion. And as soon as I saw that, I felt that was Charles. As I say, I want to read on the Australian tour, but Charles is going to Australia. And it's interesting. I've just had you see, everything's linked in my readings. Something just came on about end-of-life care. Can't see it now. You know when you get a news flash on your phone and then for some reason the flash is gone, but because I didn't click on it quickly enough, it said it was about end-of-life care and caring for the dying. Because the thing about Charles is he's in Australia. He has paused his cancer treatment on the agreement of his doctors, but then he will restart it again. He doesn't look particularly well. He looks pretty frail. And I think you're going to see that frailness in Australia. So I really want to say to Australia, please be kind. The energy of becoming a republic or not will be on the table. Charles has already opened the door to that discussion. He said it's for you to decide. But it's like any breakup, if there's going to be a breakup, and I'll come to this in the second half of the video, but it needs to be done amicably and with respect for what has gone before it. And I just feel as though this closing door is the life that is still there at the moment, but the light is receding. And William is sick, literally worried sick with regards to what he has to step into, whether he can do it, hence the loss of weight. And I can just see the anxiousness in his aura, but it's also to do with the loss of his father. Now, I'm lucky enough that at the moment I still have got both of my parents, but I do know, and I'm sure many of you know because you've already lost them, that there's something to do, people say that when you've lost both, it's that energy of actually feeling like an orphan, however old you are, whether you're in your 40s, your 50s, your 60s, or later. There is this energy of being alone in the world. The ones that brought you in are no longer there. Yes, they're there in spirit, but there's a physical loss that is very felt. Where do you feel physical loss? You feel physical loss within the body. This guy is really, really feeling it at the moment. And my heart just opens for him. The other card that comes up is this one. This was last night. This says Feast of Plenty, Choices and Their Consequences. Interestingly, it shows two swords. So the energy of King Arthur, of course, is that there's one sword. And, the one that can take the sword out is Arthur. Now, I don't know whether this is a nod to, and again, this backs up stuff I've said in previous Knights of the Round Table readings, is that this version of Camelot coming back it's like joint rule. Okay, so he doesn't want a pyramid structure. He wants a round circle. He wants the round table. Whether this other sword here represents Kate also wielding the power, or whether it's Harry, I'm not quite sure. But this card is all about the fact that there are so many choices in front of you. It is bewildering. And there is a feeling that there is consequences to taking the wrong choice. This is about ruling. This is about becoming sovereign. Let me just read you a little bit of what it says in the book. So it says, a great feast is laid out before you and requires you to choose. What will satisfy your hunger? Something new and unconventional with its potential for bitter or savoury qualities, or something you already know and love. This is to do with, do I radically transform the monarchy, which is exactly what he will do, and it is going to be completely new, completely unconventional, and putting it frankly, he's going to piss off some of the people that like it the old way. We like it the old way with all the pomp and all the ceremony and all the rest of it. Well, there'll still be a bit of that, but there's not going to be as much of it. It's going to be very trimmed down. It's going to look very different, very, very different. And some people are not going to like it, and he's going to get, it's almost like he's between a rock and a hard place. Whatever he does is not going to be liked, because he needs to bring reform in. Some will like it, some won't, and some, of course, don't even want him there in the first place. So it says, you are faced with a plethora of options right now, and while that might seem to be an extraordinary thing, too many choices can throw you off balance. You might be worried that once you commit, you won't be able to turn back or refuse to confront the consequences of that decision. The most important thing is to realise that the feast is offering you experience. No amount of over-analysing or strategising will help you make the right choice. Don't debate the right or wrongness. Instead, just choose. He's worried about getting it wrong. What I'm feeling now and sensing is it's almost as though, I don't know if this is just a Cancerian thing, because I can be like this as well. We can spend it's almost like we're at the end of the life. What I mean by that is not that we're at the end of our life, but we're very acutely aware of the impact and the legacy that we leave. And we see the end goal, basically. We see the end goal. We see what it is we want to achieve. And then we worry about how we're going to get there without actually just enjoying the journey and the experience, which gets you to that final scene and the legacy. So he's got big boots to fill. He's got his grandmother. He's got his father, who's doing it in his own way. But more than anything, he knows that the whole future of the monarchy rests upon his shoulders. That is a big ask, and it's a heavy, heavy responsibility, and I think you can see it in his body at this moment in time. Now, what he needs is the round table around him to take some of the pressure off, because when you have you're able to delegate and you have the round table, which is what eventually will come in, there are others that can take up the mantle of different things. And that's already starting to happen, but he's still hanging on very tightly to the reins, because it's as though he feels as though he has to do it all himself, whereas he doesn't. And he's not expected to. But this is coming from a wound within him, and it does stem back to his mother's death, which is having to grow up very quickly after her death, but also just he's always had to be grown up. He was always going to be one day the future King of England and Wales and Scotland and everybody else, Commonwealth, etc. You know, so. It's a big thing. So that's where I got. I'm going to pull some other cards now for him. I did pull a few more yesterday, also just in relation to Harry and him. To be honest, they didn't tell me anything that I haven't already told you, but I will just quickly show you. It's pretty much a summary of what I've already said. I mean, I suppose the shift might be more with Harry, actually. I pulled, how does Harry feel about William? And the first card was lovely. I got the Two of Cups, which is the card of love and unity. And it's just lovely. It's brotherly love. So it's like it's love. It's love. Then we had the card of the Four of Cups, which is a card of disappointment. Have I thrown away, concentrating on what has been spilt rather than what is still left? Is the love still left between us type energy? We've also got the Seven of Wands, which is a card of combat and fighting. Hanged Man, I think, was for him. Yeah, I think the Hanged Man was for him as well. Okay, so that would be just pondering, you know, just felt like a shift in energy, a softening, less hard and brittle, and I need to fight you, and I need to beat you, and I need to win this argument, which I think has been how he's been. It was just an energy more of, actually, when all's said and done, I love you. That's what I'm feeling. With William, what did we get? We got the Ten of Wands, definitely. So I'm just trying to remember in what order these all came out, which is just heavy responsibility, burden. We got the Three of Swords, which is heartbreak. We got the Wheel of Fortune with the Three of Swords. And we got the Six of Pentacles. The Three of Wands, the heartbreak card. Sorry, Three of Swords, the heartbreak card. And the Wheel of Fortune to me is destiny. I felt that was probably worries about his father and just the burden. So it's what I've said. But I like the Six of Pentacles here, actually, with William, which is sort of, it's a bit more give and take, maybe a little bit of softening. I feel greater softening with Harry, have to be honest, than William. But I think it's more also just that, not saying Harry doesn't have things to do and think about and responsibilities and duties, because he does. But I just feel as though the duties and the responsibilities that William has got are so huge and big that it's almost like there isn't much bandwidth really for him to have the time maybe, or I'm just hearing the bandwidth to move and shift, but he needs to be doing that a little bit more towards his brother, definitely. So that's what I got last night. I'm going to pull cards afresh today and see if there's anything else to say, wants to come through in this reading. Oh yeah, let's use this deck actually, completely different deck. This is the Wild Unknown Archetypes deck from Kim Kranz. And let's just pull a card for William at this time. Okay. So we've got the Kiss. Ah, we've got the Self on the bottom of the deck. That's nice. You know, I know people will interpret the Kiss that, oh, that's him and Kate, and it may very well be. But with the Self, what I'm feeling is the energy of self-love, maybe coming to a realisation that to be able to lead, it's that expression, isn't it, that you can't pour from an empty cup. And he's going to have to do a lot of pouring over decades. It's going to be a lot of giving. There's a lot expected of him. So he can't do that unless he becomes a little bit more tender. There's a softening. It may very also be a softening towards him and Kate, them entering a more tender time. It's been very apparent for a while now that Kate is wearing a different ring on her finger. And I did predict that, didn't I? That I think I was one of the first to say it, actually, that ring of Diana's, the beautiful sapphire surrounded by the diamonds, wasn't doing her any good. And I said William should go and get her a different ring. And it looks like she's wearing she's definitely wearing a new ring. She's wearing an eternity ring, and it's sapphire and diamonds. So it's a nod to the ring that was there. I'm sure occasionally she'll probably wear it, but there's been quite a few times recently where she's not wearing it. She's wearing this new eternity band in its place with her wedding ring, and I suspect that's a ring that he's brought for her, so that's nice. Let's see, anything else? So William, we've got Nectar. These are very feminine cards, which is nice. This is somebody who's getting in touch with their feminine side more. I'm not saying he wasn't before, but there's definitely a very strong feminine energy here. I feel reaching out to that white rose is also a nod to his mother, because Diana was, there's a phrase, isn't there? The English rose. She was the English rose. The peaches and cream complexion. She was the English rose, and there's a hand here reaching out to the rose, reaching out to his mother across the veil. And I feel she's very much there for him. She always has been. But so here he is, finding himself, coming into himself, surrounded by this rather lovely feminine energy. And I feel that's Kate, that's the bond, and this is the mother. Okay, nice. Let's go to another tarot deck now, and then we'll get to Australia and Charles. So anything else to say with regards to William at this time, please? So this reading came in really with regards to concern for his health, but let me just pull again. Anything else to say with regards to his health at this time? Is he okay? Yeah, he's okay. He's okay. We've got the energy of abundance, and we've got the growth. So this is him. This is him. At the moment, he feels like the acorn, and he's got to become the oak. Okay, and this is basically saying that he will get there, because there is a mighty oak. We've got the card of abundance and growth, but what we're seeing right now is the acorn rather than the oak tree that he will grow into. We've also got the Queen of Trees on the bottom of the deck, which is the nurturer. I feel that's Kate. Again, if you've been following some of the stories and the pictures, particularly that Kate has put out, she keeps putting photographs of herself with trees or in forests. So the symbolism of the tree, I very much get, is linked into Kate. And maybe this is also a reflection on their marriage as well, having gone through, I'm sure, a difficult time. Growth and abundance. But I don't think they're out of the woods yet in terms of just health issues. And, there was a recent outing that they did. They haven't done very many, but they did one together. And again, heavy, outing. And this is part of the remit of being a future king and queen. They went to Southport, and they went to visit the site where those beautiful young girls were murdered recently, that set off all the riots across England in particular. And, having to go into that sadness, profound sadness, it was etched all over their faces, but they both looked... Again, I'm not judging them here. They'd aged a bit, and that is not an insult. I get really cross, actually, when people think that it's an insult to say somebody's looking a little bit older. Because do you know what? The There's somebody I know at the moment who's battling to stay here, battling to stay here, won't make old age. And, you know, they would give anything to be able to have a face that looks older and is still here in 20 years' time or whatever. And when you go through difficult things in life, it absolutely shows on your face. And in many ways, that should be a badge of honour, that you've gone through something, an illness, a difficulty, whatever. And yeah, you're profoundly changed from it. And why should that not show on the physical? And why should that be an insult? It shows you've gone through something. You know, you look at an old person's face and they've got the lines and the weathered and all the rest of it. It shows they've lived a life. It shows they've lived, okay? So I'm not insulting them by saying they looked older. They did. They looked older. They've been through it. They're still going through it, these two. And they're not out of the woods yet. But right at the moment, the cards are saying, and my intuition is saying, that we're still on track. But definitely just need to hold the energy of compassion for William, because I'm just seeing him as this little boy with the, you know, the socks up to his knees, the little red cap, Diana pushing him into school. And that's nice. I've just been shuffling as I'm talking to you. I've got the card of success come out. And the 10 of trees, the card of loyalty. I think that would be Kate, loyal. We've also got the shadow energy. Yeah, it's deep, dark night of the soul energy. But we've got 3 of stars, which is vision. We've got the teacher, which is clarity. And we've got stability. Yeah, it's going to be, and strength. And perseverance. Okay, we could just keep going on and on, but the cards are saying that it's going to be all right. But effectively still in the dark night of the soul. And that dark night of the soul for William is not going to end until he's made peace with his father's passing. And that's not wishing Charles dead now or anything like that. It's just that I don't feel Charles is going to be here for that much longer. And William knows it. And it's like anything, he's carrying around this fear. The shadow card here is about fear. This fear of losing his father, this fear of what he has to step into. But he will be guided. He will be guided. So try not to worry when you see pictures of him at the moment looking so frail, to be perfectly honest, because he does look frail. That is the reason. Okay. Should I just pull a card from the Avalon deck, actually? I've got a new Avalon deck. Let's just pull a card for him from this deck. It's only a little deck. It's called The Mists of Avalon by Rose in Sarah. Let's just have a card for William right now. Got the energy of Harry hovering here. But I think that's literal. You know, it's like Harry is hovering. And William knows that. And again, it's just like, and again, think about your own family. You've had a disagreement. You've had a period of separation, maybe. And it's like, how do we meet halfway across the bridge? We've got the Sacred Grove, protection. It's the card of protection. It's the card of protection, the card of longevity, and the card of renewal. Card number 8, the Sacred Grove, the owl. Let's read what it says about this. Card number 8. It's time to breathe new life into the humdrum of existence. Find time and space for a respite. Breathe life deeply. Spend time in nature. It's where your spirit will have the chance to regenerate and find peace. Ground yourself and reconnect to the magic of trees and be rejuvenated and healed. Something about forests with his reign. I feel as though he's going to be planting a lot of trees if he doesn't already plant them. It says, when you come to the sacred grove of Avalon, know that you have been brought here to be healed and to enjoy the sanctuary of peace and regeneration. Like the Avalonians who worked with groves and communicated with the spirit of plants, that's his father, the card asks you to feel the presence of nature's greatest regenerator of oxygen, the trees. The card of the sacred grove invites you to restore and grow. You are in the midst of feeling ungrounded, and this may be due to your busyness of life and fast pace. Tree roots extending beneath the earth connect their healing energies and magical powers to Mother Earth. It's about nourishing. It says the affirmation is, I nourish myself every day. And we had that card from this deck, the card of nourishment, the self, tenderness around the self. So the one word I would give for him right now actually is vulnerable, but in recovery. He's in recovery. He's, but as I say, it can't complete until, where's that card with the door? This door, when this door finally closes, yeah, and his father is no longer here, I feel as though, it's what I've said before, I've said this years ago, it's at the moment of coronation. He's going to be wobbling up to then, but the moment of coronation, Diana showed me this moment where it's like spirit comes down, anoints him, helps him, and he's able to fully step into it. But this is, you know, in many ways what he's showing here is, I know we're not going to be the future king or queen of a country or whatever, but we're king and queen of our world, and we go through moments to a degree like this where we feel as though we can't do it. We're not up to the job. Why the hell did we sign up to this soul contract? I don't want to do it. I want to get out of it. You know, but the beginner ultimately takes that breath and moves onward and becomes the master. Something here about breath, isn't there? There's been a few cards talking about breath and breathing, and that to me links into anxiety. You know, anybody that has stress and anxiety knows you can shallow breathe. So I feel as though he's just really got, you know, I would hope if he ever watches this, I wonder whether somebody has passed on stuff I've said in the past, because Kate's got that new ring. Go and see somebody who can teach you how to properly breathe, you know, breathe through the big events, whether it be, you know, yoga or any other holistic practice that's going to help you understand your chi, your life force, your breath, how to regulate it, how to sustain it, how to ground, how to grow and move with it. Yeah, that's my guidance. Okay, let's have a quick look at Charles then. I'm going to put these cards back into the deck. And let's use this deck again. Let me just give it a good shuffle though whilst I'm talking to you. So let's have a look at Charles. So what's happening here is that King Charles is going to Australia with Queen Camilla, and they're going to be doing a tour of parts of Australia. Not New Zealand. It's had to be cut short because he's not well enough to be away for that long. But from what I'm gathering in the UK news, some of the things that is being said is that he arrives, I think there's some sort of state gathering, banquet, whatever. I think it might be Canberra. And a number, if not all, of the state premiers of Australia, getting something in my ear here, have said that they're not going. So he's been snubbed by a lot of the state premiers, which to me, more than anything, is just rude. Sorry, I just think it's bloody rude. Because he's already said, if you want to be a republic, put it to the people's vote. I don't have an issue with it. So it needs to be done amicably if indeed, you know, you're going to move away from being a constitutional monarchy, which is what we are, and you are at the moment, to a republic. And probably at some point that will happen. But it just needs to be done with, I just think it's true of anything in life. When you move on and you make changes, if those changes have to be made, do it with respect and love for what's happened before and the past, and what the past has, where the past has got you to, basically. So, I mean, my God, the thought of a President Starmer here is just blood-curdling to me. You know, I would much prefer to have a constitutional monarchy than a president, has to be said. But President Starmer, oh, let me put that out of my mind for a while. Let's go back into Australia. I did get a song for you with this whole thing about republic or not in the future. I got Neil Sedaka, Breaking Up Is Hard to Do. So, yeah, there's something there with that when the time comes, if it comes, but it will at some point, but it's just when. Breaking up is hard to do. It might be harder than you think. I'm talking here about, it's a bit like, the analogy here is, I know I'm talking to Australians now, and you know, so you've got a constitutional monarchy still. So when the Queen died, if you like the fact that you're a constitutional monarchy, you felt that. But we really felt it here, I feel. You know, it's as though you don't realise what you've got until it's gone. And then when it's gone, it's like, oh, you know, that actually was pretty good. That did give us something as a country. That was great. That was amazing. Whatever. There's something here about, the song says it all. Just listen to the song. Breaking up is hard to do. Okay, let's have a look. Let's have a look at how Charles is doing. Let's pull a couple of cards for Charles. So Charles, as he heads off to Australia. A tidy house, clarity and organisation. We've also got the card on the bottom of straddling realms, wandering between realms. Sorry, straddling worlds, wandering between realms. We've also got the power of community. I get very strongly with him that he really wants to come. He really wants to come. To him, it's a commitment that he's made. He wants to see it through. He wants to tidy things up. You know, a tidy house. It's about duty, it's about responsibility, it's what he should be doing. He's obviously been there before, but it's just, what is the energy here? Yeah, I'm just feeling tidying up loose ends. I always feel also there's an energy of setting the stage for William at some point, but really feel a strong determination that he genuinely wants to come. That card of straddling worlds, wandering between realms, is a little bit concerning. I think he's a bit... Something I believe to be true is that, I mean, when I say I don't feel he's going to be here that much longer, I'm not being given a time scale on that, and even if I had it, I wouldn't tell you because I don't think it's ethical. But I don't think he's here for that much longer. Put it this way: when you start to move towards spirit more than staying on earth, which is a process, it's not just the final breath. It's as though it's a journey that you start to take. You're sort of in between both worlds. Part of, I know it sounds weird, but part of you can already have sort of gone a little bit over there, or certainly visit there more, certainly in dream state. But your physical body's still here. But it's like it's straddling the two worlds, which is the card we've got here. But he's going into it with good spirit. He's going into it from a community perspective. Gathering around the power of community. He wants to, he's genuinely interested in what's happening there, what's going on there. He wants to meet people, speak to people. He wants to literally speak and touch normal people on the street. How are you doing? That type of thing. That's his intention. I will pull a card for his health. He's travelling with a doctor. I'm sure they've got all eventualities covered, but he's obviously not a particularly well man. I do feel as though he's not, I think it's going to be obvious that he's not very well. I mean, I know he's still going through this cancer journey, but I just feel as though it's going to be quite visible that he's struggling a little bit. We've got lost compass, getting back to integrity, and we've got empty well, time to replenish. This one's easy to interpret, which is that he's putting on the best show he can. You know, he's putting his best step forward and all that. I'm sure he's got some nice suits and he's planned it all down to the nth degree. But I think he's going to find it quite draining. I think the spirit's willing, but the flesh is weak. It's that type of energy. He wants to put himself out there and do it and go. But even the journey itself, I mean, I've never travelled to Australia. I probably am going to at some point in the next 2 years, actually. But the thought of the journey is like, oh, God, I'm sure it's going to be exhausting. There's no way I could get off a plane and run a workshop, let alone be, you know, a king or queen and have to go and meet people. No, thank you. I'd need a week to recover. I think he has built some time into it. But, yeah, his energy is not quite as robust as he thinks it is. But I feel as though Camilla knows that. She's going to be watching out for him. Lost compass, getting back to integrity. What does that mean, Spirit? Stranger and curiosity. I feel as though he feels as though he's abandoned the country a bit. No, I don't know whether that's justified or not. I don't know whether he was last there. It feels like it's a strange land, or maybe it's just the fact that he's obviously coming back as a king. He's never been a king when he's visited before. He's been there as a prince. He's come there with Diana. Has he ever gone there with Camilla? I don't know. It's almost like he's turning up as a completely different person. No, I don't mean a clone. I'm just talking about he feels very different. He looks very different. He is different. He's got a different stature. He's now the king. And it's like the compass he used to have in terms of, you know, it used to work if I was with Diana or whatever. It's like this all feels very strange. There's a nervous anxiety here with him in terms of how it's going to go. Getting back to integrity, he wants to do this properly. He wants to do it well. And with regard to, you know, Australia becoming a republic, I think genuinely he does not have an issue with that. He just wants things to be done properly. Let's get round the table. Let's talk about it. Not necessarily this week, you know, when he sees people, but he wants to do things with integrity. Let's just read that card of Lost Compass, card number 35. What does that mean, Spirit? Let's have a look. It says finding the way home. When the lost compass appears, it is a sign that you need to find your way back home, back to your source and centre, relying on your intuition to arrive there. Be wary of the signs telling you to turn here or there, or to avoid this or that person, because the outward indicators are not reliable right now. The lost compass has come to show you that you need to find new counsellors. You're not getting the mentoring you need for your success. The lost compass is a blessing in disguise because you sometimes have to lose your bearings and find yourself afresh to discover a new course. That thing about it's a sign that you need to find your way back home, back to your source and your centre. And we've got the empty well. I wouldn't be surprised, you know, if... I can't imagine that the tour would be curtailed early because he has to return home. Maybe there's something that he can't do when he gets out there that he thought he was going to do, or he wanted to do. So this is the thing about there's a bit of an integrity issue because I want to be there, but I don't know if I can. Or whether he goes to an event and he has to leave early. I don't know if it would ever be reported, to be honest. So there's a bit of an unknown energy here. Okay. Let's go to the conventional tarot and ask about his health on this tour. Let me just put the cards back in the right order. Okay, right. He's got the two of wands as just, they really do love each other, has to be said. Him and Camilla. I've done videos on their love affair. They are twin flames, those two. Okay, Diana was a soulmate. She was not his twin flame. Look at that, the two of wands and the two of cups. But I've also got the 10 of wands and I've got the 3 of swords. And I tell you what, I've got a real feeling of sadness in my heart. For the Queen of Pentacles. I know Camilla is a Cancer, I think. I don't think she's not an earth sign, but she is the queen of the material realm at the moment. So that is Camilla. I'm getting this real sadness with Camilla. I'm just getting a sadness with Camilla. So we've got the 3 of swords, which is an ending. We've got the 10 of wands. It's difficult. It's hard. He's having a difficult battle with his health. There's no doubt about that. I wonder whether we're being told the full extent of how things are with him, actually. Are we being told the truth with regards to his health? No, we're not. No. We've got the 7 of cups. No, they're deliberately not telling us the truth. Do I mean by that he hasn't got cancer? No, he has. I think it's more that we don't know the severity of it. I think William knows the severity of it. And I think that's why William looks like he does. I think he's worried sick. What am I shuffling for? The cards are pretty clear there. So, yeah, health's not looking great, but there's great love there. Great love. And that's sustaining him a lot. She's his rock. And he'll stay as long as he can for her, more than anything else. And his family, of course, but she's what sustains him. Yeah, the 4 of... Tower, Death, and Star card. Yeah, I don't really want to go any further on that, so... let's have a look at how the talk... You see, this is what I really feel about... Just put it this way. If you knew it was going to be your final time to see somebody, take it away from Charles now, just in your life generally, would you not try to at least be civil and polite? I think that there's a lot of Australians that will be out for him. I'm talking in a good way. I think there'll be a nice show of public support. It might be slow to start, but I think it will gather pace. And I think it could also gather pace because they'll see how he looks. And at the end of the day, whether you're a king or a pauper, we all come from the same place. We all go back to the same place. We should have empathy with anybody that's ill, for example, or struggling, whoever you are. And I think there's many good people in Australia who can put their differences aside and just... hanged man, have a change of heart maybe. Let's just ask the cards, how is the tour itself going to go? And I think I've gone as far as I can with this read. Okay, how is the tour going to go? We've got the 6 of Cups coming up and the 10 of Swords. He really needs to watch it in terms of not overdoing it on this tour. But yeah, it's going to bring up a lot of memories of the past with him as well. You know, I mean, why would it not? I mean, it does anyway, doesn't it? Next year, I'll have been married for 25 years. And we got married in Mauritius. And we always said when we got married, we're going to go back to Mauritius in 25 years. You plant a tree when you get married, and we're going to go back and see our tree. And to be honest, when I go back next year, when we go back next year, it will be bittersweet because you remember the person you were with all the dreams and the hopes and whatever. And then life has worked out however it's worked out, good bits, bad bits, sad bits, happy bits, all the rest of it. But you also remember who you were, you know? That woman I was 25 years ago is not the woman I am now, you know? And it just shows you the passage of time. So I feel as with him as well, there's this thing about just looking back, remembering back. But it's not just about him, it's about times that his mother's been there and his father was there. And I think in many ways he's in his heart, he would never say this because he's trying to be pragmatic and businesslike and professional. And he knows that there is a move towards republicanism, and he respects that, and he's not going to hold anybody back if that's what they want. But he's also a human being, and the human part of him, or the real human part of him, the human heart part of him, just wants a happy homecoming. But, you know, that 10 of Swords is not a good energy, is it? We've got the 7 of Swords as well. I think there's going to be factions in Australia who just try to make it as difficult as possible. Lying, cheating, manipulating. I did see something actually online just before I came on that there's merchandise being sold, something to do with, you know, like Charlie's last tour of Oz or something, you know, making it a bit jokey, like the final farewell tour. That's what they're saying, because it's the last time a monarch might come back, those that want it to become a republic. But, you know, words are powerful. A farewell tour can also have other meanings. So I've just split the deck on the 3 of Swords again. Yeah, so sending protection out to him as well in Australia. I hope his protection's tight over there. 10 of Swords has just come out again. Okay, I don't want to go any further into that. Let's just surround him in protection and love, actually. Love. Okay. Anything else to say? I don't think so, although I feel as though I want to leave this on a maybe slightly more positive, hopeful note. So, let's pull a final card. Let's have a final card from Diana. Okay, so let's just bring Diana's energy in. Okay, so she loves all of them, really, including Camilla. Yeah, including Camilla. Long forgiven Camilla. Forgiven Charles. Loves them all. Loves her sons. Loved the royal family, actually. Believed in the monarchy. Wanted her son to become king. What message have you got, Diana? You've heard everything that I've just said in this video. Message from Diana. I'm just hearing this word steadfastness. Steadfastness. Diana was a Cancerian. William is a Cancerian. Cardinal sign. There's something very steadfast about Cancerians, which is often overlooked. Hidden power is what she's saying. There's hidden power there. There's hidden strength. Everyone sees the crab that is starting to crack, you know? But actually there is a strength. There's a real strength. The crab knows how to ride out the storm. The crab knows when to hide, when it needs to hide for its own safety, security. Steadfastness. Card just fell out. I'll see what that is in a moment. Let's have one more, Diana. Okay. Right, the card that fell out was the card of harmony and acceptance, card number 14. And these two came out as well, the Magician and the Knight of Trees, the Custodian. Of the 3 cards we've got here, we've got somebody sitting in a lotus position, meditation, stillness, mindfulness, slowing down, going into the heart. The Magician energy. The blue butterflies, the pink lotus, the white flame. I'm just getting this feeling coming from her of, split the deck and I've got the Ace of Angels, wisdom. whatever occurs, it's all going to be okay. It's like that motherly energy coming in at the end. Can you feel it? It's just like, it's all going to be okay. This card, reaching out to her, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. But it's going to be okay as long as you remain steadfast. I think this also applies to the people who are affected by the Crown. You know, I'm talking about Commonwealth, UK, as we go through the changes to come with regards to the royals, succession, changes to the shape of monarchy, what monarchy looks like, where monarchy is, where it isn't. It's going to be around for a bit longer in my country. It might dissolve or change shape in other parts of the Commonwealth, and that's okay. But it's this energy of just, there's a dignity here in these cards. There's a dignity, there's a respect. And there's a wisdom, there's a learning that everything that we go through as nations, as countries, as groups of countries, with figureheads, etc., it's all learning. It all makes up who we are, what we've been, what we will be, what we will become. Just respect for that passage and that time. And with the royals, of course, and the traditions, we're going back many centuries. But this card of acceptance is really lovely, and harmony. And I'm going to leave it there. Okay, thank you very much. Take great care. If I have turned the comments off, which I might do on this video, leave a like. That will help it get to people that might appreciate watching it. Thank you very much, everybody. Take great care. Lots of love. Bye.